they put in power to govern us, we're still gonna be having discussion about, oh, you don't like us, you hate us, we are American, we're not. That's bullshit. The only thing that can make this happen tomorrow is when Africa is gonna be strong. One president, one economy, one army. If you touch an African, it doesn't matter is black or Asian, or I mean, is black or Caribbean, it doesn't matter. You touch one of us, you touch all of us. That's the only way, and that's the only way we can influence the power in America, like Israel is doing right now. Other than that, we're talking bullshit.
Mike, let's hear what you have to say.
It ain't gonna be nothing but a bunch of bull crap.
My own ideal Black America, right? When we hear the term Black America, my own ideal is us establishing our own administration, our own system, our own laws, and our own enforcement. Because when you look at police officers in America, for example, right, they're only serving one interest. And when you look at the demographic of the police departments, they're majority whiteys, right? It's hard that you come across, unless you're in the South, where you see a full police department that consists of many BLKs, right? But when you aside from the South, you move everywhere else in America, whether in the suburb, the inner city, wherever you are, you see that the police demographic is mainly the white tees. And this why is that? Have you sat down and asked yourself, why is that everywhere I go I see white officers, not black officers? Why is that? Even when you come across the black officers, they're just as enslaved as the one that's enforcing the law, because they're serving that interest.
No, but they got the majority. They got the majority of the people too. Imagine if those black Americans stop arguing with Africans and we united of that, the more the better. Don't you think we're gonna have more black officers too? It doesn't matter from Africa or those people are from Africa or Haiti or Jamaica. As long that person is black, don't you think it's gonna add more number to it? But those people are so xenophobic. They try. This is so sad, man. For
And now I said pretty early, I said we had a black president. We had a Supreme Court judge that was a black. Even now we have a Supreme Court judge that she's black, first woman, right? We had those in Congress to represent us. We have those in the legislation department to pass laws. We have those in many prestigious positions of power. But what have they done with their power? Instead, we're facing the same challenges. And now we have a president that was once a KKK, if not still a KKK, that's now going to Washington D.C. to experiment. I'm thinking that he's using Washington, D.C. as an experimental ground for what's to come. Because remember, Project 2025, maybe you guys have forgot about this, but Project 2025 is to reform America. He's reforming America beneath our eyes, and that's what we're not seeing. Instead, we're on this platform, identifying our identities, just insulting each other. But these guys are doing things to set up the stage for the next generation. Because these old people, the regime are dying up. They're all in their 80s. They're all in their late 80s. They're all approaching their grave. You understand? So now what's going to happen? These were the people with the old ideology of the Jim Crow law, the racism. But now the new generation of white people, they felt the guilt. They feel the guilt of their predecessors and their ancestors, what their ancestors has done. They feel that guilt, right? So now, what are we going to do now to change that narrative? Well, hey, it happened. Let's come together and work together and build this country that we call America, where it's a radical inclusion country where everyone is included, whether you're Spanish, you're Portuguese, you're Brazilian, you're African, you're Haitian, you're American. We're all included in this country because all our tax money makes this country great, right? So we all have our own share. If they could come and insult Africa, well, we pay tax, right? So when we pay tax here, that tax goes to benefit the whole country, not just one race of the country, but the whole country. So that's why sometimes I don't get into this argument of the insulting Africa, because I know that we work. Haitians come to work, Africans come to work, Spanish come to work, everyone come to work, even them they work. So at the end, our tax money is one that makes the country great, is one that buys the weapon for the military to protect this country. So that rhetoric is out of the window. But now we have someone that's talking about Project 2025. By 2030, a lot of jobs are going to be lost to AI. We're not talking about these realities. Right now, China got self-driving trucks. What's going to happen to the trucking industry? Right now, you see things are happening. So these are the fundamental things that we need to start coming together as one to protect our own. I don't care if you guys say, "Oh, we're Africa." No, I don't see nothing. I consider African Americans my distant relatives, right? But at the end of it, they don't see names, they don't see culture, they don't see religion, they see race. So if they're doing things to protect their next generation, to benefit their next generation, what are we doing now to uplift our next generation? As we're suffering right now, as we're arguing right now, as we're frustrated, so our kids will become tomorrow. You know? This is all I want us to come together collectively and fight this battle, because this battle is a silent race war going on. It's a systematic race war going on, and it's an institutional race war going on. 35% of our brothers are in prison. That's a whole country. You know what I'm saying? 35% of BLKs are in prison or in some form of institution. Come on, guys. There's a war against us, man. This have a linguistic.
Can somebody unmute Salim? So I think Salim want to say something.
No, don't do it. Do not do it.
Let him come in. Come in. Allow him, guys. Allow him.
He doesn't care about solutions. He's gonna cause division like a tether.
Allow him, guys. Allow him to talk, bro. Okay, we can. I mean, I learn from everyone. From the stupid, the foolish.
It's not our fault. We can't educate him how to use TikTok. He can unmute himself. Right, he can unmute himself. We not obligated to teach him that.
But guys, please look 2025. Please, guys, if you can look up Project 2025.
You don't gotta teach me nothing. I'm not looking for you for any education.
You want to learn.
Now to the African that's in the room, the one African that's on this post, the one African, the host. I just want to talk to you.
We're all Africans on this panel.
Okay,
We're all Africans
the African guy that I acknowledge as an African, brother.
You're African too.
Okay, Ibrahim Traore, we support him. So if you want some type of unity, get under his wing, get under his belt, get under his unity, because he's the one African that we support. He's authentic and he's willing to do what it takes. He has a heart, he has heart, and he's not trying to be something that he's not. He's a proud African. I will not cause any division here. That's it.
Which goes back to what the fellow down.
I don't want to talk to you. I'm not talking to you,
Mr. Ma. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the panel. Mind your business. What Ma said was true. You know what I'm saying?
Africans on here.
That's what's been going on. We have to build up the continent. We have to build up the continent.
Listen.
They're not going to respect nothing.
Kavali, hold on 1 second. Man, dude, listen. You ain't going to be checking people out here. You don't decide who you going to talk to or who going to respond to you, right? So behave yourself, man, dude.
What does fake African mean?
Excuse me?
What does fake African mean?
You bitch.
What?
Hey.
Drop that nigga. Drop that slave, man. Get him out of here.
Oh my God.
What is wrong with you?
Issues does, yo. That's a
I literally just said what does fake African mean?
He said he's not gonna cause no division.
Yo, I do have a question.
Just erratic, yo.
Me, I went to America back in 2010, and that was my first time. And once I got there, I was talking to my other brothers, African brothers, and they were calling Black American cousin. And that was the first time because it didn't connect to my head, you know. And I was like, "Who you calling cousin?" He said, "Oh no, those are Black American. We call them cousin." You know, that was my first experience in hearing that. And to those Black Americans, when they see us, they don't call us cousin. They call us African booty scratcher. That was back in 2010. So if anybody come on the panel and talking about we don't like them and bullshit, that's a lot of lies, man. I don't know who taught them to hate us, but somebody did a pretty good job teaching them that African people hate them, we sold them and everything. Look, people with talking like that, they're ignorant because they don't know what really happened during slavery and during colonization.
So this is the one thing, right? I hold everybody accountable. There are Africans who do badmouth African Americans, you know, so let's not act like it doesn't come from, and that's why there will never be peace with the diaspora war, is because both sides are saying, oh, Well, my people don't do this. Well, unfortunately, you don't know all of Africa. And unfortunately, you don't know all of Black Americans. So you cannot speak for anybody else but yourself. There are Black Americans who do and say effed up things about Africans, and there are Africans who do and say effed up things about Black Americans. So how can we come to a conclusion? Accountability on both sides.
I agree.
That's the only way we can move forward, because I'm not going to sit down here and lie like I haven't heard some Africans, even back home, say some messed up things about African Americans. And they're African Americans, well, let me say FBA, honestly, because at this point, it's the FBAs. I cannot. They're FBAs. Let me not put it on African Americans. They're FBAs who say some, who are saying messed up things about Africans. It is both sides. But the only way we can move forward is to disassociate ourselves from those negative people and focus on the positive people. Anytime you go to HBCUs or, Black spaces, you see African Americans and Africans coming together, they don't care, just mingling with each other. So for me, this is TikTok thing, because my HBCU, the Africans and the African Americans, we're doing fine. We have no problem with each other. Even when you go to Third Ward or, the ghettoest place here in Texas, or let me say in Houston, everybody doing fine. I just feel like this is just social media, like rage, social media bans, like especially by probably the CIA, who's trying to cause division, and we're falling into that trap. And that's a problem.
But to be real, you gotta admit that there's this thing over there that a lot of people, I won't say all of them, a lot of them have this mentality that we hate them. Like the whole continent, the Africans don't like Black Americans.
I will say a lot of them. I will not say a lot of them. It is not a lot of them. It's a
I'm talking about my own experience. Because every time I had a conversation with a Black American, before he get to know me and where I come from, before we had an understanding.
Mon, do you stay in America often, or you just visit?
I stayed there for 10 years, then I left.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you this, right? What a lot of African Americans do is they might not know too much about the African continent, which is fine because it's not part of their curriculum. They don't teach much about Africa in the American curriculum, which is okay because it's our job to actually educate them on that. They should not be learning that from the YT system anyways. Now, I will not say hate or speak bad about, because they don't even know what to speak bad on. When you grow up watching kids with kwashoko, with flies on your whole life, that's the perspective you're going to see, no matter what, because that's what they show them in the Western world. Now, it's our job as Africans not to take offense to that and understand that this is what they've been taught, right? This is what they're shown. American media is different from the world media. So it's our job as Africans to be like, hey, this is not how it is. There's not everybody that lives like this, or this is some certain issues, or this is that, instead of feeling insulted and reacting back. Because now that's where the feud and the fights come from, misunderstanding.
But I agree on that part, but also I don't think it's your job to educate grown adults, because I was a kid watching those same commercials, but my family taught me better. They said, no, that's not what Africa is like. But a lot of grown Black American adults, they still think like that. And I feel like you shouldn't, it's not your fault that they think that way, that they're stupid and ignorant.
Mm-hmm. So baby, I'm gonna tell you this, right? Even growing back home, anytime we watched Black Americans, it was always GANG related. I grew up watching Empire, thinking that's how things in America were. I'm not gonna lie. Or what's the name of that movie with Tupac? I can't remember the name. We watch things like this. Now, if I came to America not having an open mindset, thinking, oh, it's all Black Americans, that, mind you, and then I went to a HBCU, so the things were not working out in my favor. And I used to fight with African Americans a lot, especially on Twitter. Nobody fought with African Americans more than me on that continent, for sure, back then. But when I came to America, I had Black Americans and African Americans sit me down and tell me history, teach me history. I couldn't learn that in school because my history teacher was racist as hell. Like she painted Malcolm X as the bad guy and MLK as the good guy. That type of American history. I did US history, right? But I was Black Americans who took their time to understand that the type of media I was presented to back home, or the world is presented to Black Americans, is not the real truth. So this is what is happening. There's redlining, Jim Crow, the civil rights, police brutality. There's all these things happening, and then the American media painting Black Americans in a bad light the same way they paint Africans in a bad light. So it's both of us experiencing the same thing, but nobody is willing to educate each other on why this is happening or what is actually happening, and that's why we're having this dispute.
But I feel like I agree with the previous, what is your name? Trip 4P. I agree with her because I don't think we have to teach them, because who's teaching us? Do you think they are teaching us about them? We are actually learning ourselves. We read books and all that. So why are we supposed to teach them? And besides, are they really willing to actually learn? These people are not even willing to acknowledge whatever we are teaching them. No, Africa is not like that. All these things that has been painted about us, it's not true. They are not even willing. They still think we live in heads. They think we don't have electricity. They are not even willing to listen. So why are we teaching them? We don't owe them any teaching.
Merge onto I-24 East.
Minority, honestly.
I think that's a minority, actually. Most of them.
That's not
a few of them are good, but most of them are actually having that mentality.
For about 21 miles,
especially
continue
now that
straight.
They found out they are the natives of they are natives American. When they this is kind of something that they found out recently, because it wasn't there before. I think they found out about this when I don't know what her name is, in 2016. I think this is something that's coming from 2016. When I don't know him, I don't think it's Dr. Arikana, but when they started fighting for reparation and so on, and then they started saying that, oh no, we can benefit all of us, and all of a sudden now they became Black Indians. They were not Black Indians before.
So Black, it's very easy it's very easy for a group of people to get confused. I understand. That's why I don't get upset. Not that upset when people say, when Black Americans say, first they were Israelites, then they were the Hebrews, then they were I swear, I grew up with this, but the reason why I don't get offended is because I understand. Like, you grew up in a system where your culture was stripped away from you.
Yeah.
We Africans, we didn't have that. Yeah, we had colonization, but majority of all of you here speak your language, right? Minority of Black Americans still hold that African culture. So you need to understand that there's this traumatic mentality that's happening, and that we need to be there for our quote unquote people that you say they're your cousins, to educate them. The ones that want to be educated will be educated. The ones that don't want to be educated, leave them alone.
No, but don't you think the education you're talking about start with the visitation of Africa? Because I know a lot of them.
Are you going to pay for their tickets?
No, hold on.
Money to buy.
Hold on. A lot of them.
People who are barely paying rent to pay for tickets to Africa.
Let me finish.
Well, they have a lot of money to buy drugs.
Do you know how much money Black Americans spend when they go on vacation overseas? That's a lot. And those type of things, they never even imagine going to visit Africa.
Brother, there are a lot of Black Americans in Africa. Where they come from. Brother, there are a lot of Black Americans in Africa, though.
You're talking about 2%. You're talking about 2%.
It's still the amount of Black Americans in Africa is more than the Black Americans outside of anywhere else aside from America. So there are more Black Americans residing in Africa today than residing on other continents aside from America. So there are Black Americans who actively go back to Africa to either learn, build, or stay. So
but that's a very low percentage, maybe 2% of them.